Who said, "Let there be light"? And who is the light of the world? 3 verses into the book, and this church is already off the rails, calling Jesus God. Jesus is a Roman winter solstice demigod created by Rome to trick naive Christians into Sabbath-breaking lawlessness and idolatry, and it worked. There is only one true living God, and he is a spirit. There is the Son of Abba Yah, the firstborn of all creation, the express image.
Stay in the left lane.
Of God. I'm going to stay in the middle lane. The left lane is for the apostate Christian church, who are in error to the left with their hyper grace, once saved, always saved, all day Visa card to sin all you want. They are the James Bond servants of their hippie Christmas Jesus God, which means they got a license to lie, steal, murder, commit adultery, have other gods before them, covet. The list goes on and on and on with these apostate Christians in error to the left, who think that they're once saved, always saved, no matter how they misbehave. So stay in the middle lane on the straight gate. Narrow is the way that leads to life, and few be there that find it. Broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many be there that go in thereat. Then you got the error to the right. Torah observers who've become overzealous. They have a heart for God, but not according to knowledge. And they've got some covetousness because they're coveting after the biblical feasts. Although there are explicit instructions in Deuteronomy 12 and 16 on how to do the feasts and where to do the feasts and what type of calendar you need to do the feasts. We don't have that stuff. It's been removed. It's been taken from us. Lamentations chapter 2. Jubilees chapter 6. The calendar has been taken away. Zephaniah, we don't have a pure language anymore. So don't make a man an offender for a word. Do preach and teach about the Roman deception, the Constantine changing of the Sabbath, and the changing of Messiah's name. Do preach that. We are to expose the workings of darkness. But don't get into contentions over whether his name is Yeshua or Yahusha, or Yahweh or Jehovah. We are to speak to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, which is the northern kingdom, scattered into the Gentiles, all speaking the same language. That's the English language. If you want to call the Messiah by a name we can all agree on in English, it ain't Jesus, it's Joshua. Call him Joshua. But we must awake the people to this deception, because it's not merely a translation issue. That's what the enemy wants you to think. They want you to have peace and security when there is no peace and security. Don't make a man an offender for a word. If I use the word bullshit because all that's coming out of the church is bullshit, don't make me an offender for a word. Paul said dung, and he basically meant bullshit. Don't make a man an offender for a cigarette, or for a beer, or wine, or a tattoo, or you don't like his haircut. No. We are to judge righteous judgment, which means that we are all to keep covenant. We are to keep the 10 commandments, and the commandments are not grievous. Give me one good reason why you can't have any other gods before you. Give me one good reason why you can't have graven images. Give me one good reason that's stopping you from taking the Lord's name in vain. Give me a good reason why you don't and can't keep the Sabbath day holy. Give me a good reason why you can't honor your mother and father and teach your children the 10 Commandments. Give me a good reason why you can't murder and you can't commit adultery and you can't steal and you can't lie and you can't covet. This is how upside down the world is. That God's holy covenant, his moral law, is considered a strange thing. It's so simple. What's it going to take? Great tribulation. You know, when everything around you is destroyed and your children and your grandchildren are dashed to pieces, and everything you hold dear, your bank account, your retirement, your college fund for the kids and the grandkids, your legacy, your accomplishments, your trophy cabinet, your plaques on your wall, all your bullshit, it's all coming down and it's not going to amount to anything. And you're going to regret it so much when you realize all I had to do was keep God's commandments. And what's the last one that I can't seem to recognize? The Sabbath. I couldn't even obey a command to simply rest. This loving, nurturing creator, this faithful creator that we have, says, if you love me, keep my commandments. And you say, I'm going to love you the way I want to love you. Well, I'm going to make you a genie in a bottle. I'll call on you when I need you. And I'm going to create my own doctrine. The commandments are multiple choice. Sabbath is optional. And God knows my heart. And he does. He knows that your heart is desperately wicked. Desperately wicked.